bad moon? Yep, there are such things. And that's the January 1st new moon that was on the planet Pluto. Normally, Pluto may not be that difficult by itself. It could bring some volcanoes. It could bring knowledge about bugs, epidemics, power and control issues, plutonium, atomic energy, etc. Pluto has a lot of different sides, but it's really Sherlock Holmes. So a new moon on it isn't necessarily bad, but this moon is different. It's a bad moon. Here's the new moon. It squares Mars. Mars is famous for fires. They're having fires in California, heat at a weird time. Here's Uranus, which is power, electrical things, motors, suddenness. Here's Jupiter, which is rain, and thunder and lightning. And all of this, is famous in astrology. They call it a grand cross. Now, I've seen this before. And when all these squares are obstacles, okay? And so when this thing is being set off, there's a lot of people trying to fight here, but necessarily the squares may be obstacles to doing that. So that I've seen people freak out over grand crosses, but they actually can get locked up. And Jupiter could prevent the police, from violence. Uranus, the media, the TV, could prevent Mars, the young guy, from shooting everybody up. So this is a very strange kind of configuration. But, it's all going to start on that bad moon, which is the first, huh? Let's take a look at it and find out what it's like day by day. We're just going to run the moon around the edge here. And as it makes angles to the various planetary bodies, it generates the mood of the times. Hey, you got to be more quiet, Michael. So here's the sun. It's moving from 13 to 23 degrees Capricorn in the next 10 days. 2 days ago, it was at 11 Capricorn, and there was the new moon, and there's Pluto. So it's all happening at 11 degrees of cardinal signs: Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra. If you've got planets at 10, 11, 12 degrees, you're going to feel some of this. Somebody's going to get stuck. Watch the sharps and hots. So as the moon moves along here, Thursday night, if you're watching the show, there's a nice sextile to Uranus. And you could be getting some wisdom from astrology and ancient science and the internet and the rebels. Snowden's in the news again. And the courts have vindicated him a bit. It's kind of neat. We got Mars here Friday morning. And the trine to Mars is kind of neat. Now here's a time when you can use this Mars opposing Uranus energy and deal with the electrical things, and you can fix them Thursday night, and Friday morning you're good to go and get the actual physical work done with the trine to Mars. The heroes are out. You're good until about dinner time. About dinner time there's a square to Saturn. The moon hits 21 degrees of Aquarius here and squares old Saturn, and suddenly there's a stopping point. And you run out of time or money or something, and so you got to get the work done early Friday morning, okay? Saturday, about breakfast time, the moon shifts into Pisces, and it becomes very spiritual and artistic and musical, as the moon is going to go by Neptune in the middle of the day. Neptune is the higher heart, lots of feelings. Have somebody fuzzy. Have an animal around. They open up the telepathy and the feeling and the compassion. And that's very useful in these troublesome times. So, good time for prayer. Go out and sit under a tree. Be with some animals. Talk to Jesus. That's what Saturday's for on January 4th. In the evening, about midnight here, there's a sextile to Pluto and some Sherlock Holmes investigations could come out. These could be rather startling because there was a new moon on Pluto. So more investigations come to the light. Things rise up from the surface. Happens Saturday night, Sunday morning. And Sunday, look at this. Here the moon's in Pisces, and it makes sextiles to the sun and to Pluto and to Mercury. You know, here's trine to Jupiter. Oh boy, trine to Saturn. This is one of those days when everything falls in place without hardly doing anything at all. You know, just envision it back here on Saturday. Get some pictures in your mind. Get your dog or cat to agree. And stuff will happen here Sunday. Sunday night, nice sextile to Venus. Stay up late. This is around 10, 11 o'clock in Hawaii. There's some sugar there. Continues through Monday morning. Stay in bed late. Monday, between breakfast and lunch, the moon shifts into Aries, and the SHIT starts to hit the fan. Here's the fan, Uranus. Zoom! It's a helicopter. No, it's a power outage. No, it's a... We all got the shakes and the shivers, and there's earthquakes. And so, you know, this time's kind of loaded. It squares Pluto. It blocks your control. You don't have power and control. Here's the opposition to Mars is Tuesday morning. Everybody's a little angry and frustrated. Ask yourself what you're protecting. Tuesday night, here's squares to the Sun, Mercury, Venus. There's no rest, no satisfaction. Kids are unhappy. Dad feels helpless. Not a good time. Monday and Tuesday with the moon in Aries. You're on the corner of that Grand Cross. If it's electrical, test the connectors. Twist the plugs. Take the plug out, turn it around, plug it in again. Reset it, reboot it. Okay. Enough said. It's going to continue through Wednesday, most of the day. The moon's still in Aries, and you're going to feel it till about dinner time when the moon shifts into Taurus. Once it shifts into Taurus, there's a sextile to Neptune. Turn on the music. Now the moon goes by the south node, this little upside down horseshoe. That's the moon's place of sucking up, nurturing. So we're all going to feel like we need a little bit of help here late Wednesday night. This line is 2 a.m. in the morning in Hawaii. So 2 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. on California time. We all need a little help Thursday morning. That's the way it feels. Okay, and the help seems to be forthcoming because the moon's in Taurus, and here on Thursday it trines Pluto. The forces are out in our favor. Sherlock Holmes is doing his job. There's a trine to Jupiter. There's wisdom flowing. We're back in the nice zone again, Thursday and Friday, moon in Taurus. Now there is an opposition to Saturn. You're going to feel real ambitious Friday morning early. There's a nice trine to the Sun. But this opposition to Saturn sneaks in here, and suddenly we don't have enough, and we're depressed, and there's not enough money, there's not enough time. We're feeling closed in. It's this moon opposing Saturn from Taurus. It's fixed. But here's Venus, the goddess of love and sex and sweets, pops up and says, don't worry. You may not have the money, but you got the love. And just look into the eyes of the nearest animal and you'll find it. People don't work, animals do. They're constant. And Friday's a good day on the 10th. It goes into Friday night, late, here's a trine to Mercury. The kids and the animals are all happy. It doesn't change until Saturday morning, January 11th. In the morning around breakfast, there's a square to Neptune. There's confusion. There's delusion. There's problems with liquids, and deception. It doesn't clear up till Saturday night when you hit the sextile to Uranus. And the internet and rationality and science come up and say, okay, we got a handle on that confusion. And your electronics and engines are working again. Sunday, get out and get something done. There's a nice trine to Mars. You're back in that zone where you can do the physical work and get the job done. Rather the same as Friday morning up here when the moon hit that harmonizing Uranus and Mars together. It's not easy. this time of a grand cross. It is a bad moon, and by golly, you're going to feel it through the whole month. As you can see, it's on Mondays and Tuesdays by and large.